MoviePass has not even relaunched yet, and yet their first step is to encourage you to buy other subscription services? Really? Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net. Thank you so much for the first new video of the new year. Hope you had a wonderful holiday season and all that jazz. Now, this news is something that I actually should have shared a little while ago. I actually stumbled upon this news story about 3 weeks ago, and well, when I discovered it and was about to make the video of it, I got sick. Was it COVID? I don't know, to be perfectly honest. I do remember having the worst sore throat I could remember for a whole 24 hours and then petered out. I never lost my sense of smell, and some at-home test kits did say that I was negative, but then we found that the at-home test kits might not actually detect Omicron, and there's some signs that if you are fully vaccinated and boosted, that if you get it, it will be more like a cold than it would be actually getting really seriously sick. It's just weird because I have not gotten sick in 2 years since we started wearing masks and stopped spreading germs everywhere, but you know, so this is a little late. That's the bottom line. But I still think it is worth talking about this because I don't see anyone else doing so. So as you know, when Stacy Spikes rebought MoviePass, he created a new website, iwantmoviepass.com. This was where you could, go and put your name on a mailing list, which I did for the relaunch of MoviePass. And the original MoviePass webpage was more or less still the same under what the previous management had left it as. Now, I went back at one point to MoviePass.com and I noticed that it had been updated. It had the new black background, so the new black MoviePass logo, and it had a really interesting message. And I'm going to read that to you right now. When we began MoviePass 9 years ago, our dream was to inspire more movie-going and help establish the idea of theatrical subscription. Today, more than 50% of theaters in North America offer some version of what we began. This is great news for anyone who loves going to the movies. As cinema now safely emerges from the pandemic, we want everyone to show their love and support for the movie-going experience. We know that there's truly no comparison to watching an incredible story unfold on the big screen. So theater fans, now is the time to deepen our commitment by becoming a subscriber to a local theater. Here is a list of some of the theater chains who offer subscription programs, and they list Alamo Drafthouse, which I do not have, AMC Theaters, Cinemark Theaters, I have both, Marcus Theaters, don't have, Regal Cinemas, have, and Showcase Cinemas, which I've never heard of, honestly. We're all in this together. See you at the movies, the MoviePass team. Now then, this definitely caught my eye. First of all, the fact that the original MoviePass website actually had an update, that was pretty interesting. But then it was also interesting, like, here they are, they're planning to relaunch MoviePass. They even still have that little, send your email our way so that you can get updates about when MoviePass will be relaunching. But they're writing a message that actually says, go to a local theater and subscribe to their subscription service. And they list off who has subscription services that they are aware of. Like, is this for real? Does this seem like something that a company who is planning to relaunch a product, is this something that they're going to actually do? Is this what you would do? So here's the good news. Unlike last time, where under old management, I didn't have any contacts to MoviePass. Ironically, despite being one of their friendlier critics, they didn't seem to like me very much. I would always send an email to try to get a comment, and it never really worked. The good news is, under new management of MoviePass, which still has not launched, I actually do have some contacts in the company. Some pretty high up contacts, if I'm being honest. I don't want to say who that is, but let's just say the contacts are pretty high up in the company. And so I was able to reach out to these people and say, hey, I saw this. Is this you? And what was your thinking when you wrote it? Because I had an idea of what this was, but since I can now verify what the intent was, I wanted to verify it. This person, rather than send me an email, decided to call me and explain what the thinking was, and it was pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I'm going to be paraphrasing because the conversation went on for like 15 minutes, and I can't remember it verbatim, but basically, MoviePass is trying to do something different. When MoviePass first arrived, they were the disruptor. They disrupted things. They were kind of like an eyesore to the movie theaters. They were doing something that the theaters did not like, even though this is the very thing that theaters should have been embracing because it was going to get more people to go to the movies. Well, ever since MoviePass, theaters have, for the most part, embraced subscription. Cinemark, not so much, but And, right now the movie theater industry is definitely not on life support, but it's been bruised. Like, this little media game that's being played was definitely hit hard by the double whammy of streaming services and the pandemic, which forced theaters to close for so many years. And MoviePass, under new management, knows that not only do they need this industry to survive, but everyone's in this together. So MoviePass, according to this person, does not want to be the antagonistic disruptor anymore. The MoviePass going forward wants to work with movie theaters to not only get people back to the theaters, but if people go back to the theaters, then there is a reason for MoviePass to exist. There was also a little bit of talk going on about how MoviePass would most likely be targeting mom and pop owned theaters first before going to like Regal and AMC. But this is basically MoviePass coming forward and saying, look, we're back, and we know we didn't end on good terms last time. It was a very, very sour breakup. I took too much, I blamed too much on you, and then I basically left in the middle of the night, didn't say goodbye. Well, I'm back, and I've got flowers. I've got new promises. I'm a changed company, if you will. And look, we are not opposed. Like, we want this relationship to be mutually beneficial. So MoviePass, like, compare this public response to MoviePass's last big public response to the theaters. When MoviePass was really dying and they knew what, they released this big statement that basically said, how dare the movie theaters not work with us? We brought you business. We saved your butt. It is thanks to us that you still exist, which was canonically not true. They improved the theater's quality of life for sure. People were not paying for movie tickets since they were buying more concessions and they were going to the theaters more. MoviePass benefited movie theaters, but MoviePass, the company, was basically like a mobster. They were trying to do blackmail. They were trying to threaten and bully their way to become a part of the ecosystem. And it did not go well. So even though MoviePass was good for the movie theaters just assume let them die at that point because they were an abusive spouse. Well, the spouse is coming back, and the spouse says, I don't want this to be necessarily just about me anymore. I want this to be about us. I want this to be about everyone. So this is actually a very smart thing for MoviePass to be doing. They aren't even hiding the fact that other theaters have subscription services. And they shouldn't, because they should not fear being able to have other subscription services. Look, I have multiple services. I have AMC, I have Regal, and I have Cinemark, and they all serve their purpose. There are movies and screen experiences that AMC has that Regal does not, and vice versa. And I keep the Cinemark around because The other two services, they don't include Fathom Events in their service, but Cinemark does. And Fathom Events are really expensive sometimes. So when I can't use one of those, I will go to a Cinemark and I will use one of my tickets from there so that I can see Wolf Walkers or Lupin the Third the First or Ghibli Fest or Betty White's 100th birthday celebration. Rest in peace, girl. I'm sad that she didn't get to 100. So, and this is probably what's going to happen with MoviePass. I'm still not sure if I will probably be resubscribing to MoviePass for this channel if nothing else, but I'm even starting to think about what would my future with MoviePass look like. I mean, I've got 3 subscription services that gets all the major theaters, but if MoviePass does get me into like the Laemmle theaters and the mom and pop cinemas, like maybe MoviePass would still have a place for me. And maybe for some other people, it's like, oh yeah, I will subscribe to Regal or AMC, one of those because they're my favorite theater. But then I will also get a MoviePass on the off chance that when I go with a group of friends and they want to go to a movie at the other place, I will use my MoviePass instead. Or I can now go to a small mom and pop owned theater and I can get a ticket there without having to pay out of pocket. So the message that you should be taking is, and we're still not sure what MoviePass is going to look like. We're not certain about what the services are going to be, when it's going to launch. We don't know any of that. But MoviePass has now officially signaled they are not the enemy. They want to be the friend. They want to encourage people to go back to the theaters, and preferably, if you'll have me, so to speak, we would like to do it with you, and we are all in this together because we all want the movie theaters to survive. At the very least, what this shows is a MoviePass that is not here to fight. This is a MoviePass that's here to be a good standing business partner, which, considering how antagonistic and really almost bragging about how they were changing the industry the old MoviePass was, this from a public image standpoint is a very positive sign. But I want to now pass the question on to you. Do you think this is a wise move for MoviePass? Do you understand where they're coming from? Or do you think it's a mistake? Maybe you think this is not the way they should be doing it. Maybe you think they should be doing something else. I would love to know what you think that is. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.